Okay, welcome to Sunday Shop Talk, and today I'm going to do the video that everyone's asking me about, and that is how I go from this to this, ready for polishing and applying your finishes. It's going to be in two parts because I'm going to do it in real time. It's going to be quite a long video. You're going to see me sanding these in real time, and then the next video will be applying whichever finish. I'm going to use a 2-pack water-based, and I'm going to use a new hardWax oil that I've been using. There'll be links in the description to them. And on the second video, once that's gone off and cured and hardened, I'll then go to the next phase of the polishing, which will be a higher grit paper across all of it, another finish, and then the polishing machine. Okay, so here's part one, which is sanding across the joint. These have been, if we have a close look, see the lines down here. It's hard to see on the camera, I'll try my best. So these have been, this one's more pronounced, it's been a harder, the markings. These have been through the wide belt sander. So the key thing to remember here is we're going to start on 120 grit with a random orbital. Now the key thing to remember is the scratches and all the skate marks that you see can be removed by stepping through the various grits. So these are just small, not too expensive side tables. If you're working on a great big dining table that's worth a lot of money, you could use every grit and just go up one at a time. And that will help remove any of the sort of ice skate marks and the scratches that you're all seeing. But the other thing to remember is when you're working on the heavy grits, down at the 40 especially, and the 80 and the 100, that is where you are adding those rings. Now, because this has been through a wide belt sander, what this will be, the sort of core, if you like, of the scratching is a line. So it's much harder to see. So it really helps if you've got access to a drum sander or even a wide belt sander, just not to dig in with those first few heavy grits in the random orbital. That's where you get the rings. And then as we work up the grits, we're going to go lighter and lighter. And there's various finishes. I'm going to do a few videos on this. This finish I'm going to use on both of these. One is going to be a paint-on 2-pack, which you'll have a link in the description, and the other is going to be the new hardWax oil that I'm using. Now, what you can do, the paint-on 2-pack is actually going to create, because I'm going to use a roller, it's going to create a sort of a slight pattern to the roller, and I really like that. Gives it a nice feel. It won't be glass smooth. The oil one can be polished glass smooth, and if you like, at the very end, you could polish the finish on the water-based to like a glass smooth with a buffer. We can try that on one side. But the key is going to be, we're going to work up through the grits until we're happy with the marks on here. We're not going to go to the polish level. We're just going to get to about 320. I'm happy with 320 on the wood and still the oil goes in. If you're not happy with that, just stop at 240. Then what we're going to do is oil it and then come back once the oil is soaked in, and then we'll go again across this. So the first layer of oil is already in the wood. And then we'll polish the resin to the level we need. As I said, on these particular items, because they're small side tables, these are not going to be what I would call like grade A diamond polishing. That's going to be safe for the really expensive tables. Otherwise, you just price these things out of the market. See some scratches there. Just cellulose thinners. 120 grit so far. And there's some scratch marks there. So let's go now up the grits. Next, I'm going to go to 180. Very difficult to see the scratches now. It's getting really good. There's some little skate marks there. There we go. Just see a few here. That's 180. There's some scratches there. Right, let's go up to the next one. I'm going to jump to 240. Now, when you're using the 2-pack, water-based, which works well on dark wood, I'm not sure about it on light wood yet, I need to experiment more. That is actually going to go inside any of the scratch marks if you put it on with a roller. It's a very nice effect. Now, let's have a look here. Now, it's up to you guys at this point how confident you are about your oils and your wood finishes, whether you stop at 240 and now start sealing this. If you're worried about it, this closing up, start sealing this now. If you're going to use a 2-pack, you can add some warm water up to 20%, it's still food safe. If it's an oil and it doesn't need to be food safe, you can water it down with some white spirit or thinners, whatever it is you like to use. Start getting the product inside the wood, and I would say at this point pretty much leave the resin. If you're going to use a wipe-on poly, it's kind of another video really. We need to look at that later on, because the wipe-on poly will stick to that and then you're going to have some issues. If you like the wipe-on poly look, you really need to experiment. It's not something I can walk you through every part. But if you're going to use a hardWax oil now, I'm going to be trying Oddy's oil, and as far as I understand, that's going to work great up to 1400 on the wood, 1400. So that's going to be pretty impressive. You can polish this thin now. I'm going to start adding my product now. hardWax oil is going to start going into this now. This one here, I'm going to use the water-based. That's good enough for me at this stage. Doesn't matter if the hardWax oil gets on here. Once you've built up your layers of hardWax oil that you're happy with for the first initial thing, then we'll carry on the next step, buffing this even higher. We're on 240, we're going to go 320 across both, very light on the wood and light on here. You'll notice I switched sanders. That's because I find this little palm sander easier to control the weight of the Rotex. The Rotex is a great unit. I just find it easier to control, and I've got one of these now, so a little lightweight sander. I'm not pushing too hard. Okay, so that's the first video. I'm going to wrap it up there. It's quite long because I'm actually on the sander, so you can see how long I'm spending on the grits as well. I thought that was the best way. I'm now going to oil this, or this is going to be hard. This is going to be hardWax oil. This is going to be the 2-pack water-based. Then the next video will be doing the oil, letting it dry, or the finishes rather, letting it dry. Once it's dry, I'm going to take you through the next stage of sanding and then the final polishing as well. Thanks a lot for watching.